Let's talk about fandom etiquette, what it is, and how we can all coexist more peacefully in these online spaces together by following a few core principles. While I have over 15 years of experience in and out of fandoms, I am by no means an expert. So I enlisted the help of two creators I admire immensely in these spaces, Pluto and Dean. You can check out their profiles here and also in the description. They are very smart people and really know what they're talking about, so definitely go follow them. But they gave me some fascinating and super important pointers to share with you all about how we should be behaving in these online fandom spaces, the general rules we've all sort of agreed on, and things to just remember as time goes on, because you don't know what you don't know. People have to teach you these things, and if no one's told you, well, allow me. The number one thing I wanted to cover first, before anything else, is the topic of having ownership over your own online fandom experience. This is huge, you guys, and thankfully we are currently living in an age where being able to filter out keywords and block and mute certain users is easier than ever before. These features didn't always exist like they do, and now across basically every social media app you have an ability to block, filter, mute, etc. And this is something you should be utilizing for fandom no matter who you are. Unless you are just absolutely cool with everything, use these features, you guys. This is something that Dean said specifically that I thought was so spot on. He said, most fandom etiquette boils down to being responsible for your own internet experience and not harassing people. That's a huge one, you guys. The harassing has gotten out of control recently. That's just something that I'm adding. Utilize blocking people in tags. Do not talk shit about specific fics or fan art, especially on a public platform, because ultimately fandom is supposed to be a fun and safe space for people, and it's only possible if everyone agrees to this. You may not like everything you see. That's fine. If you don't want to see it, do your best to mute those keywords to reduce the amount of content you see on that topic. It's not going to be perfect, but it's better than nothing. And ultimately, we should not be harassing each other. Seriously. Something that Pluto brought up that I totally agree with is the topic of headcanons. Headcanons are all fair game. By definition, headcanons are not canon, so no one should be harassing each other for it, right? It's for fun, it's for imagination purposes, it's for whatever the hell you want. It should not be grounds for bullying each other, for any kind of negative behavior, okay? They don't matter. They're headcanons, right? And it's about having fun. And I think something that she brought up that I agree with is we're just inviting ourselves to be heartbroken when we bring said headcanons to the casts of shows, because they're not responsible for that. They're just taking the words that the writers are giving them and portraying it on screen. They are not the be all and end all of canon, okay? I think it's best if we keep most headcanons in our own community spaces, personally, and to stop harassing people for their own personal headcanons. Just let them have fun. Have some whimsy, you know? A topic that I know Pluto's passionate about and speaks on way more eloquently than I ever could is the concept of fandom elders having a responsibility to pass on knowledge to newer fandom people. There is this kind of increase in this individualistic approach to fandom where people who have been in it a long time don't feel like they should have to explain things to new people or are annoyed at rehashed discourse, which by the way is not rehashed to new people. They're having it for the first time. They have a responsibility to pass on this information. Otherwise, you can't be annoyed about people not knowing it, right? You can choose what you want to do, but you can't have it both ways. And I completely agree on this. And fandom age is different than your regular age. There could be people younger than you that are older than you in fandom because they've just been around longer. So keep that in mind. Something I wanted to make sure I touched on in this video, though, is boundaries with actors. This is a big one, you guys, and this is something that I've noticed has gotten worse over the last few years and change. Do not tag actors in posts if the original poster did not tag them in the first place. This is a huge no-no and a huge boundary no one should be crossing. Okay? Especially because a lot of these actors, especially on current shows, are very online. They're seeing things, okay? And if the original poster didn't tag them, there's a reason for that. So don't go in their comments tagging all sorts of people because you think they should see it. check with the original poster first, or better yet, don't do it at all. Which brings me to the can of worms that is RPF. This is something the three of us agree on vehemently. RPF is real people fiction or real people shipping, whatever you want to call it. It's when people are shipping real people outside of the stories they portray, right? And while I'm not going to comment on the morality of this, whether or not you should do it or participate in it, I am not going to speak on that. I will speak on the fact that we should all agree on not bringing it to the people it's about. Okay, let's talk about it. It's objectively a very touchy, weird concept to begin with. These topics need to stay within private fandom spaces. They should not be brought up at panels, meet and greets, autograph signings, conventions, interviews, on the street, online. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is a huge boundary I see crossed all the time. And it's not just within one fandom, it's in a lot of different fandoms. Do not cross the RPF boundary line. And since we're talking about RPF, let's talk about fanfiction. I am going to refer to both Dean and Pluto's expertise on the topic of fanfiction, because while I've dabbled casually, passively over the years, there is a lot to this topic that is new to me. But everything they said essentially boiled down to this. 1, ship and let ship. 2, your thing is not necessarily my thing, and that's okay. And 3, if you don't like it, don't read it. It's very simple. Fan fiction is a free, exploratory, beautiful thing, but it is not meant to satisfy every single person. This is not mainstream media. This is not canon media. It's none of that. This is purely just people's art that they decide to share for free. Okay? So you're not going to like everything, and that's okay. And you don't have to support everything that's written about or ship the things that are shipped. But it's not okay to harass authors about it, right? And also, on a more like minutia level, some things that Pluto brought up that I didn't even know is like, if you feel the need to make notes on a particular fic on AO3, make it a private bookmark because the author can see your notes otherwise. Yikes, I did not know that. I don't really use AO3 like that, but in case you didn't know that, now you know. AO3 is not Goodreads. Do not put that shit on Goodreads, okay? It is not meant to be consumed and criticized by the masses, unless the author explicitly asks for feedback. You should not be giving unsolicited comments and feedback in the comments, in their DMs, online, anywhere, right? If you want to share fic that you love to other people, great, right? This also includes taking screenshots of fics to make fun of it or like show people how cringe it is. That's not cool. We're not doing that in 2025, right? It's one thing if you want to take a section of a fic and be like, look how beautiful this writing is, I love this so much. Okay. Not for the purposes of making fun of it. This is someone's art that they're sharing for free. If you don't like it, just move on. Another thing Pluto brought up that I agree with is tagging something as an author of a fic, just dead dove do not eat, does not suffice. You need to be giving it specific tags as to what is the dead dove that you should not eat, you know? Like, so people know. One tag doesn't just cover it all. You need to be specific. Please. I think all of these subtopics of fandom etiquette can be boiled down to just having responsibility and ownership over your own experience, not harassing other people, and having general respectful boundaries around the creators of the thing that you're a fandom of. It's very simple. Like, personally, another thing that I like to have or adopt in my behavior online, especially when I'm talking to people on different platforms, is I never say anything that I would not be comfortable saying to someone's face at a convention, right? And I never make a remark about an actor or a creator that I wouldn't be comfortable seeing them read it in front of me. I am by no means perfect. There are some of these things that I've slipped up on over the years. There are some of these things that I learned after the fact. This is not about being perfect, but it is about always trying to do better, making these safe spaces available to people, and having fun, you guys. Let's have fun. It's fandom. right?